Real estate investing is not for everyone. In fact, it may not be for you, but it may be the thing that sets you free. There's a conversation with this couple, and we were talking, and it's not an uncommon conversation, but one of the persons, so one spouse, the husband, wants to invest in real estate, and he wants to use some of their savings and their funds to invest in real estate, but the wife does not. And it seemed to be a super common. In fact, I had another conversation with another couple, and they're just the exact opposite, where the wife wants to invest in real estate, but the husband doesn't.
Yep.
So all that to say, the big challenge here is that spouses aren't always on the same page. But what happens is, what do you do if you have big dreams, big aspirations, and you don't invest in real estate or do something outside of just your 9-to-5 job?
What happens is things are just stale. I mean, are you talking about what happens?
I mean, what do you do?
way?
Because you have to make more money, right?
Oh, if you need to make more money, yeah.
If you want to live
Yeah.
to a different level in your future,
You
if you
always have to
want
do
to
more.
fulfill your dreams, aspirations, and leave something behind for the generations potentially, or not, I don't know. I always say, I want to, the book Die with Zero?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a book out there.
I don't remember reading it, but I know you have.
It talks about die with zero. And, I don't want to die with zero. I don't want to try to get it that perfect. But it essentially is saying, hey, look, you don't need to give everything to your kids and work your entire life just to give to your kids. However, life is better with money. There's more
Yes.
freedom. And the reason we do it is because of freedom. So we were on a Zoom call. And the challenge is that it creates tension in a marriage between the husband and wife.
Yeah.
Because they're on completely
agreeing.
different, they're not agreeing. They're on different pages and trying to figure out what to do with their money. And oftentimes, because we know opposites attract,
Yeah.
and we're quite opposite in the way that we think and do things and everything. So it's just a common thing, everybody knows. But the wife has fear, is real cautious, while the husband is more bold and daring.
Yeah.
And he wants to go out and invest, and he's researching and learning and growing in real estate, and they have a few doors already, so they've already got their feet wet. But there's that tension in their relationship because she's scared, concerned, fearful of losing money and all those things that are real. So what do you do when you come in a position like that? How do you solve a conflict?
I don't know. I don't have the answer on how to solve the conflict, but
Yeah.
I just feel like you've always talked about that, the taking money to make money, but being scared of the risk, like taking the risk. That's everybody's biggest thing, is the fear of stepping into it. And she's got more of that fear and doesn't have maybe the understanding like he does of what to do and how to get over that.
So there are some people who are bold,
Yeah.
some people who are cautious. Some people are overly bold, some people are overly cautious.
Right.
Were
So
you
I was going to
something?
say
Go
that
ahead.
I remember those things you've said multiple times, like, if only I had done this back then, if only, because
man.
you were scared, you had that fear, you didn't want to take that first step into something because you were scared about losing the money or whatever the situation was. But how many times have you said that? If I
Yeah.
would have only,
Well, and so for those of you who don't know, most people who know me know, I released a book a few months back called Fear to Fortune. And obviously that book is the journey, and it's a different type of real estate investing book because it's really about understanding the business side better and using it as a side hustle and not your main thing, because everybody has this fear of, well, I can't, what about my day job? What if we, lose money and all these things? Well, this is the safest. I mean, everything has risk.
Yeah.
This is the safest way to do this and start investing in real estate because, look, real estate is one of the number one ways to freedom, which is tied to wealth.
Yep.
Because in our society, it takes money, right? Money, dineros, whatever you want, dollars, yens, whatever they are, to survive and have nicer things and reach those things where you have some freedom.
Yes.
The problem is, if you don't do it now, so back to what you were saying, then you run out of time.
Right.
And every investor says the same thing. If you ask them, once they've gotten their feet wet in real estate or in investing of some type, of whatever they're doing, outside to start building wealth, and they get a little taste of what could be, and that spark that excitement and that confidence of, wow, my future could be different. They'll always say the same thing when you go back and ask them, what would you do different?
Yeah.
And they say, I wish I would have started sooner.
Yeah.
Sooner. So this conversation, this young couple, that was kind of the dynamic there.
Yeah.
And they're like the third recently that I've had this conversation with, and it's always the same. It's just a matter of, is it the husband or the wife, you know,
Right.
in that position? They vary. And it was really that, I think what we discovered, because you and I didn't have that issue. It was all me, so the
Right.
fear, everything was tied up all in this guy here.
Yes.
And I had to battle those within. But these couples are battling it with
other.
each other.
Right.
Yeah, so it's totally different.
Yeah, we didn't have because I didn't know all that you knew. I didn't have the knowledge, so I couldn't, I didn't have anything to argue with you about. As
I
far
didn't
as that.
have any knowledge. It took time to get there.
Right.
It was just like one step at a time.
Yeah, we didn't have the argument with that.
But the reason it worked for us is because it wasn't a contentious point.
Right.
And you trusted me to take care of us and not be so risk
Right.
it all or risk
Right.
everything to where we end up not being able
Nothing.
to eat. And I mean, truth be told, we didn't have much to
didn't
start with
have- yes.
anyway. Wasn't much
That
to
was
lose.
the thing for a while. Yes.
Yeah, but that's the problem is people get a little bit and then they have the fear of losing everything.
Right.
And so when you start getting a little bit of savings, then all of a sudden these fears, and I talk about part of some of the keynotes I give is the top 7 fears that I've defined for success that keep you from success. And in those fears, one of those is fear of losing everything. But the challenge is this: the only time that people can really, the easiest way to work into wealth and freedom is to do it when you're young.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
what happens, when you turn 50?
Right. Your time you've lost a lot of time.
You've lost a lot of
A lot of
time.
time.
You don't have the same energy you
Yeah.
had before. You're not as mentally excited as you may have been when you were younger. You just start getting like,
Things
kind of like
change.
going, oh man, really? Am I keeping, the grind gets old.
Yes.
And your
Yeah.
body can't take it the same way. Your mind can't take it the same way. So you have to do it when you're young.
Right.
So I know what the conversation was, but what would you say to somebody that you have to do? What do you think is something that you have to do to be able to get on the same page, to be able to be successful in real estate investing if you have this block between the two?
I would just say more of, like we've discussed this already in little parts, but about maybe having the other one understand as much as possible what you're going to be doing, and so they can get more on the same page to be that support role for the other, whether it's whichever spouse. But you need to have that support from the other one to take the steps in the understanding of what's going to happen. If they don't know anything, like I just trusted you. I knew that you figure things out. You would not do something that was going to be detrimental to our family or anything like that. So, but they should be on the same page and understand, both of them, what's going to happen, what the risks are.
Yeah, so, if one spouse is unclear, because we're always, that's
always-
really always defined as
Yeah.
clarity. And when you're not clear, it creates fear.
Yeah.
It's fear of the unknown. One of the other
Yes.
7 fears.
Yep.
That consumes everybody, especially entrepreneurs or business owners,
Yeah,
and really
that's a big
people
one.
who are craving to push into real estate investing or are in real estate investing are entrepreneurs. They're it's just the nature of the business. So it's lack of clarity that creates fear, and so when you have that, it's really the responsibility or role of one of the spouses, to say, hey, let's get together.
Yeah.
And let's look at this and let's help you understand and see what I'm seeing as a lucrative role or pathway in our journey to build wealth and freedom. Because if you just sit around and protect what you have from your 8 hours a day, what will be different?
Nothing.
Nothing. Because don't average people and everybody put in 8 hours a day? Yeah. So the expectation is, how can you possibly have more if you're doing the same as everybody else?
Right.
Yeah. So really, I think it all comes down to, and this is how we wrapped up the conversation with this couple, was, look, you have to be on the same page, number one. And one spouse, you can't limit the other spouse because it builds resentment. So if you were to say, yeah, Shawn, I'm just not real comfortable with that. We just can't do that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to be me.
Right.
Right? And now you're limiting my dreams and aspirations.
Yes.
And just because we're married doesn't mean I'm not going to have some independent to us. Right?
Right.
Is it fair to say, hey, you can't, I know this is something you desire, you crave, and you have dreams and aspirations to do this. Is it fair for a spouse to say, But since I'm not comfortable, we can't do it. And
Right.
so, you just get kind of handcuffed to life, and you're just go do your 8 hours
Right.
and come home, bring home your check, and we'll just live. And, like most Americans end up living check to check.
Yeah.
I mean, statistically speaking. And we'll live like that. Well, how do you ever get to freedom?
You don't. Yeah.
You don't.
Right.
And what happens between a relationship when one of the sides is limited from fulfilling their dreams and desires?
Yeah, it causes a lot of issues because that wall goes up and it causes separation. Yeah, just resentment, like you said.
Big resentment.
Yes. It can
Yeah.
cause a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And especially if that's, like you said, if they can get on the same page and understanding the explanation of, I'm not going to blow our life savings or whatever, they're not going to do something.
I'm not betting the farm.
Right, so
if they have a
yeah.
farm, that's an old saying. The girls always
that's
laugh
what you're
when I
saying,
come
it's
up with a
not
saying like that.
It's not
We've
fair.
never had a farm.
No, we haven't. Yeah.
Everybody knows what I mean. Yeah. So, you're not throwing it all to the
Right.
wind, but I think it really comes down to communication and clarity.
Yep.
So, and everything always comes back to clarity. It always does, because whenever you don't have clarity, it makes you uncomfortable. And I've been there a million times. I'm in that spot all the time, but now I embrace the pressure of it. And look, here's what people really need to realize. So I've been in business 37 years doing this kind of stuff between real estate, manufacturing, the stuff that I do. And then the old Shawn, would feel the pressure and would crumble to a certain degree.
Yeah.
This version of me has learned that the pressure is the greatest source for growth that there is. It really is. So you can't be scared of pressure. I just put myself in another pressure pot recently.
Yes, you
We
did.
won't talk about that.
Yeah.
But either way, it's a pressure point. So it's going to force me to perform and hope it works
happens.
out.
Yeah.
This time you were in the know instead of it just me out doing this stuff. So it was a big bold move.
Yes.
And in some of our future plans, and it was either step in or miss out.
Right.
And we stepped in.
We did.
So we'll see how that goes. We'll give you an update down the road in a year or two and see how that investment panned out. But either way, the point is, because you support me, and when you support me, it gives me the confidence to push through.
Right.
But if we're not on the same page and you're blocking me or I'm blocking you, we both lose.
Right. Exactly.
Wouldn't you agree?
I agree.
Yeah. So I think what we've concluded in this, and if this is you, be encouraged, because there is a way through this for sure, without a doubt. It just takes some different. It takes a different approach, and the approach is, hey, you have to come together. I always tell everybody, if you really want to find clarity, get some time on your calendar and put 2 hours aside, a 2-hour block on a Saturday or whenever you have it, where if you have kids, no kids, whatever it is, get rid of all the distractions around you, and this is exactly what you're focusing on. So within relation to this conversation, I would say set your 2-hour block aside with your spouse. And I tell everybody, look, if you like coffee, go to a coffee shop, whatever it is, but to where you're just focused on one thing. I should take that back. Probably shouldn't go to a coffee shop because there's distractions
There are
everywhere.
distractions.
And we get distracted by
more-
people
yes.
because you're people watching. You're like,
Yes.
and then you start making
your
up the
mind-
stories of what
yeah.
this couple's doing or what that person's doing,
Yeah.
and it's all false. But
needs to be more
you just make up
private.
stuff. So I would take sabbatical sometimes, a little trip, and not everybody can do that. So I get that, but you can. There's times where I'll just go into a different room, and I let you know, hey, look, I got to focus on this. But in this conversation, it's about doing it with your spouse.
Right.
So set that time aside, 2-hour block or whatever else, set it aside, and then you focus only on this. If it's real estate investing, really this applies to any
Anything,
big challenge that you're trying to attack and get on the same page together. But really you have to set the time aside and you talk about it. And if one is more knowledgeable, then you share what you know and you show them in spreadsheets and numbers and conversation, whatever it may be, bring them up to speed so then they have the full picture too. Because here's what I know. There's nothing worse than somebody coming into my office, and I teach everybody at our offices. They'll have whirled on a problem for an hour, days, whatever, and then all of a sudden they come barreling into my office and they need somebody to save them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, you can't come in here and give me a one sentence or a one-liner and expect me to have all the information in the picture that you've had hours or days of information to build this up towards. And I know nothing. And you want me in one sentence to fix it for you.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. There's no clarity. I don't really understand the context.
Yeah.
And this is the same. Clarity comes from setting aside focused time and being intentional about what you want to do together, which is, hey, here's our goal. let me help you get on the same page, or you help me get on the same page. And when that happens, that's when the confidence comes.
Yeah.
The fear and the comfort level, subsides to where you're in a good spot,
Yeah.
not an anxious spot, and all that conflict dies.
Yes, and hopefully the other spouse gets on the same page and supports.
Yeah, they need clarity.
Decisions,
Yeah. So if your spouse does not agree with you in real estate investing or whatever, bold move that you're doing, look, you only live once. You have to make some bold moves. And if you make the bold moves, eventually one, all, some, whatever, will pay off, and you'll have a great reward for it. That's how you reach next levels and you break through. But you have to make the bold move. So it's your responsibility to bring your spouse into that so they get it, they understand, so you can be on the same page, because it's synergy, man. There's so much more power in two than there is in one.
Yeah.
So 1 plus 1 doesn't equal 2 in these things, just like 1 plus 1 equals 5, because there's so much more power and synergy to move into that thing, that goal, or whatever it is. And it's a lot more fun.
Yeah, especially when it's your spouse.
Yeah, especially when it's your spouse,
Yeah.
and especially when they're on the same page.
Yes.
Yeah. So all I'd say, you can get on the same page, and you can be a power couple investing in real estate. But if one spouse is pushing back, then they need clarity.
Yeah.
That's really what it all comes down to. Yep. And the next thing you know, you got a big win.
Yep.
You wake up 10, 20 years down the road and you're like, if
Yeah.
we had not done that,
Yes,
what would
exactly.
life look like for us?
Exactly.
That's what it's about. Hey, if you haven't, this is a shameless plug, but there's a book that I put out a few months ago called Fear to Fortune, a blueprint to financial freedom and passive income without risking your day job. You should check that book out. It's a new book. There are reviews coming in for it, and it's really different. I read over 43 to 46 real estate books back in the day before I ever stepped in, because fear consumed me. And once I finally did, now I've got decades of experience in that business, and I love and I'm passionate about helping other people find these bigger freedoms, which can be found in real estate. So if that's you, grab that book. It may be something that can really help push you into the future, because you found clarity and have a better picture. Hey, if you like this video though, check out the next one. It's going to be on a similar topic, and I think it's really relevant. We'll see you next time.